Hi friends, I'm LJ Jarvis, and welcome back to the Louis Jarvis Show. I gotta say guys, I missed you all during my time away in college. There were so many videos I wanted to make, but unfortunately I just couldn't do them because of my priorities in school. However, I feel like that now that I'm on Christmas break, why don't I make a special video for you all? A video where I can say goodbye to 8th edition, an edition that I've greatly admired, and an edition that would have me create my own YouTube channel. Why don't I make this spotlight video where I will detail to you guys my 5 spotlights during all of 8th edition as a way to give tribute to an edition that, again, that I greatly admired. So, with all said and done, let's start the show. For the 5th spot on this list, I would have to dedicate this to the Apocalypse game of Warhammer 40k. The sort of expansion to the already great tabletop game. Now for those who don't know, Apocalypse is essentially an expansion of 40k, an alternate way of playing it, where instead of having a little small scale battle, Apocalypse is where you're playing entire war, where 2 players or even multiple more will have like this huge table where each player fields oceans of models as a way to really get into the setting of how apocalyptic 40k battles can be. Now, for this version of Apocalypse specifically that was released during this edition, and admittedly I don't play the game and therefore I haven't played Apocalypse, but what I've seen from players and their feedback of how they really felt like the game really felt more quicker and more epic of playing, where it wasn't like the traditional 40k game, just 40k times 10. This one felt truly apocalyptic. And what I mean by that is that the game felt faster and there wasn't lag like a traditional 40k game would be. And not something that would be drawn out as you would expect with tables filled with miniatures and each player having to move one at a time. And also what made Apocalypse for this edition so great for me, and the reason why this spot is on the list, is the little boxes that they released during this time. Boxes where you can further expand your armies, as a way to really get into Apocalypse. Not star sets, mind you, not like start collecting boxes or Battle Force, but kind of like add-ons, shall we say, as a way to add more, as a way to try to get into Apocalypse if you didn't have the miniatures before. And it was because of these boxes that I was able to get a good start out of my Astra Militarum army. These boxes were pretty cool, and hopefully we'll get more stuff like this down the line. And maybe one day I'll really get into Apocalypse, because it seems like a really cool game. So here's a little story. When I was getting to 40k, one of the main things I liked about the orcs when I was learning about them was the sort of Mad Max aesthetic they had, where their vehicles were like these slabs of metal that were either bolted or welded together, and done in a way where it gives the orcs their own identity, that it really gives them the sort of, again, this Mad Max aesthetic, especially if you were to see their vehicles. That's not what makes the orcs great in general, but it's one of the many elements that makes them cool. So, when Games Workshop revealed a whole bunch of new orc vehicles that they released during the month of October, in which they would call it Orctober, it made me think, yes, these belong to the orcs, and these made me remember why I liked them. And if I had the money at the time, I would have started a orc army, and I would have definitely bought a whole bunch of these vehicles, because these vehicles are absolutely beautiful, and it fits the orc identity very, very well. And hopefully Games Workshop will do even more cool things for them down the line. I'm really looking forward to it. From time and time again, I've always brained up the vigilance books for how Games Workshop should do their campaign books. Books that were absolutely thick and filled with pages upon pages of lore to not only advance the setting, but the characters within them. For example, it was because of these Vigilance books that we learned that regular Space Marines like Helgar could be transitioned into the Primaire Space Marines, that they don't have to die off as an old breed of Space Marines. They can be upgraded into the new generation to become the Primaires. However, it was also because of Vigilance that we got some really cool stuff for Chaos. And even though I really like the new Chaos Space Marines that they released during this time, I would have to give spotlight to the War Master himself, that being Abaddon the Despoiler. Now, despite the memes, and despite how Abaddon seems to be a weak antagonist to the 40k setting, his model is gorgeous. And that is why I put him on this list, because this model has wowed me, so much so that it made me want to expand my Chaos stuff, to really start a proper Chaos Legion. Because seeing the absolute meat that this model has, and if you were to compare it to what was before, it's almost in a way an exemplar of the creativity of Games Workshop. That if this were any other company, they don't just make a chunk of plastic and that's it. They make art, little sculptures. And for me, this model represents that. Again, despite how Abaddon might be a weak antagonist to the 40k setting, I do believe that it is models such as this that, even though we as 40k fanbase don't think of Abaddon as that much of a impactful character, it is this model that really sort of portrays the brutality of chaos, the absolute monstrosity and scale and threats that it is to the Milky Way galaxy. And again, even though he might not have that much of a impact to the setting and, within the books, it is this model that represents that malice and brutality of it. And because of that, this model has made it onto the list. I just finished my first year of college. It was near summertime, and I didn't know how I was going to spend it until I had to go back for my second year. It was during this time that Games Workshop would reveal not only a new addition to 40k, but a new box set. A way to really start 40k. And for me, it was the 8th edition starter box, Dark Imperium, that was sort of like the first movement. A box in which Games Workshop would not only advance the story, but also both create new models and revive old ones, to really show off the creativity that these model designers have. And yeah, I gotta say guys, this was a really cool box set to get when 8th edition was starting. Not only the start of the Primaire Space Marines, but also the Death Guard, who before then were just a one unit of fine cast models for Chaos. Before this edition, Games Workshop didn't go that route. They decided to make the Death Guard, again, of what was just a unit in the editions before, into a full proper army, where they would get their own troops, their own characters, their own vehicles, their own units, and later on their own codex, to become a proper army within 40k. And even though the Primaire Marines are very cool to me, it was the Death Guard that wowed me enough to get the box. Because to me, these models in particular, within all of the ranges of Games Workshop, really portray the sort of grotesque element of Nurgle, where his followers are literally transformed into these mountains of diseases and filth. And the Death Guard in particular really represent that. Really represent the grotesque element of Nurgle. And it was with this box that it would again be the first movement of what would be more things to come for 8th edition. New waves of Primaire Marines would be released, Mortarion would return to the tabletop. For me, with things like 40k being stuck in purgatory for the longest of times, it was boxes like Dark Imperium that began the new 40k and the new Games Workshop. If it weren't for boxes like Dark Imperium, I probably wouldn't be so active with the 40k fanbase in general. But again, it was because of this box that really made me love Warhammer. And it would be because of boxes like Dark Imperium that would really motivate me into starting my very own channel. And because of that, I'll be forever grateful of Dark Imperium. It is no secret of what would be my absolute spotlight for all of 8th edition. Despite all the cool Space Marines, despite the cool new Orc stuff, despite Abaddon, it was this revived army that was really the golden crown of 8th edition. And of course, I am talking about the Adeptus Sororitas. Like guys, when Games Workshop revealed the trailer for the new Sisters of Battle, and finally giving the fanbase what they've always wanted, plastic Sisters of Battle, that was it for me. It made not only 8th edition spectacular, but something great. Amongst the fanbase, with people always talking amongst themselves about a potential Primarch that could return to the setting, or a whole new thread entering the Milky Way, one of the things that everyone could agree on that Games Workshop should do would be a revised Sisters of Battle army. And with Games Workshop reviving the Sisters of Battle, having them rise as a great phoenix from its ashes of Finecast and metal, they made 8th edition something great. They made 8th edition not a good edition, but a great one. For me, if Shaosun was the gem of 8th edition, it would be the Sisters. That would be the golden ingots of 8th edition. And overall, they do represent the brand new 40k, where it's no longer stuck in the past and no longer in a state of purgatory. And this phoenix is an absolute gorgeous animal, such as how these models are. Even though I'm saying this now, I don't think there'll be anything from 9th edition that would really make such an impact on the 40k fanbase as the Sisters have. Because again, these models really represent how great Warhammer 40k can be. But that's just my opinion. Again, these were my spotlights that were released during 8th edition. If you have a top 5 list of your own, or if there is one element of 8th edition that really made an impact on you, tell me about them in the comments down below this video. I would love to hear about it. But with all said and done, thank you all for watching this video. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you all in 2021 when I'm officially done school. Have a great one, guys. And if you enjoy this video and you would like to subscribe, then make sure to activate the bell notification button so you'll never miss an episode. And if you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I'll see you all again soon.